Good morning and welcome to Moonrag. This is Dave Johnson. I'm channeling the man in the moon. Today is going to be a political reading. The three things that I want to take a look at are Russia. What's Putin going to do next? The next is Trump's present court trial. I want to see what's next for that one. It looks like it's about to wrap up in a couple of days. And the last question is the debates. It looks like Trump is at least claiming that he's going to come to the debate with Biden, and we'll see if he really does and how that's going to work out. Let's start with Russia and see what Putin's has in mind next, or at least the universe does for Putin. And of course, all those great people who are suffering right now. Let's take a look. As I look at Putin, there's like a crack, and it goes right through sort of like a portion of him. It's like I'm looking at a picture, and it's like really like cracked. If you remember Twilight Zone, how the picture at some point cracks. It's like that. And he's sort of frozen in a moment. Like like I've never seen him really looking like he doesn't know what to do. I'm seeing again, and I keep seeing this image, and that is people piling up at the gates. It's like, the gates of Versailles or something like that. I guess in this case, it would be the gates of the Kremlin or I suppose the Winter Palace or something. And it's just like at first there's just a few, but every time I look, there's like the people grow and there's more and more people to the point where now I see people climbing the gates. And there's the sort of palace guards, and they're not sure what to do. They're sort of halfway in, halfway out. They're kind of like, do we shoot them? I don't know if we should shoot them. There's a lot more of them than there are of me. And oh, Putin gets on the phone and he's calling for help for he's trying to get some people in there to stop them. And I don't think that they're going to stop him. I think the generals have a plan. I've seen one particular character, one particular Russian general, and I think he's lost a child or someone he cares about was sent in as cannon fodder. And maybe he's just a decent fellow who just is not happy seeing all these men die. Hmm. What else are you doing? It's just, there's more than him. It seems like there's a more coordinated effort to get rid of Putin. And it will not be straightforward. The way that Putin thinks this sort of revolution is going to show up, it's going to then shift and be like, no, it's not them, it's them. And it's like they're just coordinating the events around getting rid of them. And these are important people, top people, people who just they don't like the way the country's going. They're just the war is not benefiting them or anyone. For the most part, it is just for Putin. I really think too, it's almost like they feel bad for the people. These generals who are pretty hard bitten, they feel a bit bad about what happened in Ukraine. It's almost like they've got family connections there or sympathy for them. And when they were just going to take over and sort of oppress and make it part of Russia, that was one thing. But it's just death and destruction and more death and more destruction. Like it could be like one of the generals once was in love with a Ukrainian woman and they never forgot about her and now she died and it's becoming sentimental. And I think we often think of Russians as being these really tough, hard-bitten people, but Russians love their poets, and there's something very poetic, sort of poetic justice that's coming about here. It's like they're learning to be better people in a political way. And I don't want to put down any Russian person. That people are not the government. But, people don't have that much experience with democracy in Europe, or should I say Central Europe and Eastern Europe. So they don't know how to handle these situations as well. And we can hardly say in America we're handling these situations in a really good way. We are handling them in a pretty good way, I would say. But so this doesn't go to judgment so much. It's just an evolution, a change. And I could just see these people. There's just a lot of people who are just saying, we'd be happier without Putin. That's the bottom line. Life would be better. We would be happier. We would feel safer. And, in some ways, that's the only real way to change, where a majority of people really assert their power. And I just see a Russian of some importance going, stop, just stop. There's no more to discuss here. I've had it. All right. So let all those people in those places who would put an end to war say a prayer for them, if you will. The next topic is the Trump trial. So there's Stormy. She's just like, hey, I did my job. It was like the OK Corral, and I was ready, and I did what a good gunslinger does. I fired my bullets. All right. Perhaps some of you remember I kind of saw Stormy as a fembot shooting bullets. And I love this image. It is like the revenge of the eternal feminine. But it's interesting now, here comes Cohen. And Cohen was remarkably stoic. He was really good. Remember, he was one of Trump's henchmen, so he knows how the game works. He did not bite. He was just completely there with the jury. He was honest and frank and said, yeah, I said those things about Trump. Why shouldn't I? And as they're watching it, I can see the jury just being like, so, yeah, like, here he is. He's just told the truth. And he's just said, confirmed what we already know, which is that Trump paid off Stormy Daniels to keep her quiet. There's no song and dance is not working so well for these people because they're kind of trapped. They're kind of there listening to only the truth, and there's no distractions. It did not help that Trump was so angry and rude and falling asleep, and he didn't testify for himself. And that was the significant thing. This is something that keeps happening with Donald Trump, and it's important to note that he doesn't testify for himself. No reasonable juror is going to just let that go. And I know in our laws, we're supposed to just say, well, that's okay. But come on, like, let's just be honest. If you were accused of a crime, you would answer questions for yourself. There's no reason why you would not do that. And there's no reason why Trump wouldn't do that. And these people are smart enough to know that if you confront somebody with someone and they don't respond, then it's true. And this is the Achilles heel for Trump. He can't sit in a jury box and answer questions. He cannot be directed in that way without losing his stuff. It's just a real problem for him. And that is going to decide the trial. And the question, of course, is, will Trump, what will he face if he loses? So I'm seeing the jail cell. Trump's sort of in it, but sort of out of it. And then the next thing I see is like departing clouds. And then I see Trump, like, at first he's kind of cocky and now he looks just blank. Yeah, as I look here, I don't know if Trump will, I don't know if it's even important whether Trump will go to jail at this point. Because he just looks like he's lost his consciousness. He's just gone totally off the deep end. We all can see the signs of dementia. In this viewing, I'm saying at this point, it's just dementia's first. So will he go to jail? Hmm. Again, I'm seeing the departing clouds. I'm seeing a disappointed Trump. I'm just getting that he will, lose. He'll fail. Will he go to jail though? My feeling is that he might go to jail, probably will, but he'll be so out of his mind that it will just be like some kind of, hospital, or he won't even be aware that he's in jail because he's so he's just lost his consciousness. I wonder if the universe is going to tell me any more about that. Yeah, that's kind of my conclusion. I feel like it will be jail, but he's so beyond understanding what's going on that it will not matter that much. It's almost like he will his soul will leave his body, whether he is actually dead or not. But let's just attach it to this trial. What will Mershon do? Will he put him in jail? Mershon is thinking really hard about this. Mershon takes a knife and he pounds it into the table. So Mershon looks like quite angry at Trump. And he's telling me, we have to send a message. We can't allow people to attack, the judge's daughter, and that includes the Republicans who went to, attack her by proxy. It's against the law what they did, but of course, it would be difficult to pursue that as a law, or should I say, as a breaking of the law. So what's she going to do, Mershon? Again, he's showing me this. He's showing me, the sort of what looks like a jail cell, but it's very foggy. What's going on with the jail? And now the jail cell is gigantic, and there's a little mini Trump. He is going inside, and he kind of does this too. That's Jawan Mershon, two. So is it 2 days, 2 months? Well, I do not think it will happen right away. It seems like there will be enough appeals that Trump won't go immediately to jail. But I kind of get the feeling that once he loses, jail will be a very distinct possibility. Now Mershon is nodding. It will be perhaps after he runs for president. So but I don't think Mershon can do anything about it. If there's an appeal, then he will not be jailed pending an appeal. I'm seeing a frustrated Mershon. It does look like they will find him guilty, and it does look like Mershon will give him some prison time. Let's take a look at the last question, and that's the debate. And it kind of ties to the last one. If Trump really is getting so foggy, and that's like maybe the metaphor here, so foggy that he's not getting it together, how's that going to affect him in the debates? See, Biden is smiling, he is super happy. Biden is actually juggling. He's like, looks really quite, agile and together. Physically, you can look at a person who, doesn't dye his hair orange, and they might look old and they might make some mistakes. Frankly, I make more verbal gaffes than Biden, and I'm not quite that old. And that what does that have to do with leading anybody? It's just like, somebody who, stutters. It has nothing to do with their brains. It has nothing to do with their ability to act. I don't think Biden is that detached from reality. I don't think he is so far gone at all. He just looks quite bright as I look at him. And, you know, yeah, look at the things that Biden has done. It doesn't look like whatever age he is, it's presently affecting him. He's doing this whole juggling routine. And there is Trump. And Trump seems distracted. It's like he's looking the wrong direction. It's sort of like he looks over his shoulder and he's talking to some random person that isn't there. And I think that is symbolic. He is talking to an audience that no longer exists. Sure, there's lots of Trump followers, lots of people believe in that, cult, if you will. But there are others who are not, not whole believers, and they are watching. And I think the importance is that he's playing an old game. The same things that got him there in 2016 have not gotten him anywhere here in this debate, or at least not gotten very far. I think it's a disaster for Trump. I see almost like a nuclear weapon exploding. It's just he's totally distracted. Trump is, shouting. His face looks red. He looks like he's going to have a heart attack on stage. He's clearly not well. But the interesting thing is he keeps like looking over his shoulder and it's like talking to phantoms. That could be both. It could be just that there's no longer an audience for the same hate mongering, but it also could be just that he's really losing it. It's like he looks in the distance and the light kind of fractures in front of him. He's sort of distracted. Yeah, all things being equal, I don't think Trump is long for this world. We can see his decline, and I don't think that this is just psychological. I think that there's a real physical breakdown going because he just doesn't. It's like he's looking towards the light, or he's going towards the foggy end, or something like this. Even if Trump were to win, and I do not believe that he will win, but even if that were to happen, he would be so totally incapacitated. He would be so unable to even give a speech that he would be a completely ineffective person. He would not be able to do any of the things that he wanted to do. Perhaps his minions would try, but this is sort of a side point. I don't think Trump's going to win. Now, he will not win. Yeah, Joe Biden looks great after these debates. This was the right move for him. I think he's really going to prove to people that he is more than the right-wing media is giving him credit for. Thanks so much for watching.